Welcome back, friends, to another weekly video. It is election season in the United States, and we are about to vote for a new president. Now, let me just start out by saying that on this channel, I will never endorse one political party over another. So it's my personal opinion that in business, as a business leader, it's inappropriate for you to come out and say, I support this one person or another. Because if you're running a business, you have a lot of customers and a lot of employees that work for you that range from the whole spectrum of political affiliations. And so in business, you serve everybody. Businesses have to serve everybody. So businesses shouldn't be coming out and saying, I'm one political party or another. That's just my personal opinion. That's where I come from. So on this channel, I won't be endorsing one political party or another. So if that's what you were hoping for this video, it's not going to happen. That being said, there is a lot of business analysis that needs to be done so that you understand what the government is doing with your money. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the most important economic policy that these presidential candidates should be talking about. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the 40-hour work week. This is the third year that I have made a video on this topic. Now, just to be clear, none of the candidates for president are talking about this. Biden is not talking about this. Trump is not talking about this. No one's talking about this, which frankly shocks me. Because when you look at all the potential economic policies that are out there, this is the one that could have the biggest impact on the American economy. What am I talking about when I say a 40-hour work week? If you work more than 40 hours in 1 week in the United States, we should change the law to require that you be paid time and a half for additional hours worked. This is currently the law for a specific segment of the population that are covered under the Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA. For employees not covered on this law, which is mainly office workers, you have no protections under the law. I am proposing that all Americans should be covered under FLSA, and everyone should be paid time and a half if you work over 40 hours in a week. We are in a moment in time where the US economy is in trouble. Out of all the problems we have in the economy, why should the people running for president care about this? They should care about it because you should care about it. You're probably getting screwed by FLSA and you don't even know it. Let me tell you a little bit about my background. So I have worked in economic development, and I wrote the first draft of a piece of legislation called the Commercial Aerospace Protection Act. This was a bill that I helped pass in the state of New Mexico that actually created new high-paying aerospace jobs in New Mexico. So I know a little bit about creating jobs. So if I were to sit down with the presidential candidates and look at what economic policies they should be talking about, I would lay out three main criteria. It would need to have a big economic impact. It would need to be low cost, it shouldn't cost very much money, and it should be bipartisan. It should be something that everybody can get behind. This policy change about the 40-hour work week meets all three criteria. It is the one policy change that's easy to make. It doesn't cost anything, it creates more jobs and puts more money into the pockets of ordinary Americans. And it is bipartisan. This is something that everybody can get behind. The reason why this is not on the platform of Trump or Biden is because major corporations don't care about this. Big companies aren't going to care if you get paid for overtime. And so the only reason that this is going to get on the platforms of the presidential candidates is if you say something about it. And let me explain to you why you should care about the 40-hour work week. Every country around the world sets its own social policies for work. For instance, Australia requires businesses to give their employees 30 days paid vacation each year. Let me repeat that. You get 1 month paid vacation if you live in Australia. Another example, in France, workers have a 35-hour work week, and your employer is not allowed to call you on your cell phone after 6 p.m. In America, our work life is governed by the law FLSA, which exempts office workers from any protections. More and more people are working 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks. And when you're a salary employee, you are working this overtime for free. You're getting paid for a 40-hour work week and then working your nights and weekends for free. Now let's compare these examples. Australia gets 30 days paid vacation, France works a 35-hour work week, and in comparison, America has a large segment of the population with no rights whatsoever. So your company can ask you to work as many hours as they want and pay you nothing for the overtime. And if you complain, the company can fire you. Why are we agreeing to this? This is not okay. There has got to be a better system than this. I am saying a better standard would be a 40-hour work week for all Americans. If you want to work more, that's fine, but you should be paid time and a half. If you live in America, you better start paying attention to this because we are in a period of very high unemployment. This is going to get worse. You're lucky right now if you have a job. And so employers are going to take advantage of this. They're going to say, if you want a job, you're going to have to work 80 hours a week. And if you don't like it, I'm going to go find somebody else. Time is the most valuable thing in your life. Why are we giving it away for free? Other countries don't do this. Why are Americans working for free? Let me give you a scenario. Imagine your boss comes to you and says there's a big deadline coming up and they need you to work the weekend. And so you and your coworkers all come in, you work over the weekend while your boss goes out and plays golf. Has this happened to you? Because this exact situation has happened to me. And I guarantee you, a bunch of people watching this video right now has had this exact same situation happen to them. In fact, if this situation has happened to you, put a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know. It's demoralizing, and it shows that your boss doesn't respect your time. You are being taken advantage of. No one should have to work for free. In fact, it's silly to structure a society this way. We should be incentivizing hard work. If employers paid time and a half for overtime, the hard workers in your company would line up to work on the weekend. We should be paying people to work, not demotivating people. Now, there's going to be companies against this idea, and these companies will say, we cannot operate if we pay people overtime. Let me tell you, I have worked in business a very long time. This argument is bogus. It is absolutely wrong. And let me explain what happens in a business. In a business, you split up your employees into people who have rights under FLSA and people who do not have rights under FLSA. Managers take so much time and care scheduling the people who are covered and have rights, so the company pays as little overtime as possible. For the employees who are not covered, do you know how much time managers spend scheduling their time? None. They don't care if you work overtime because it costs the company nothing. All you companies out there who have been taking advantage of your employees, I am calling you out. Employees should not be working overtime for free. Now, I'm not saying that you should go to your boss and complain and say that you don't want to work overtime anymore, because if you do that, you're going to get fired. And that is the whole point. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. This needs to stop, and we should gather together and talk to our politicians and say, this is something that we want. We don't have to accept having no rights at work. Why is it fair that one segment of the population has these rights at work and the rest of us have no rights whatsoever. That doesn't make sense. We don't have to accept working overtime for free. We don't have to accept working the weekends while our boss goes out and plays golf. And we are in bad economic times, and so if we don't speak up now, things are going to get worse. I do think that there's a real positive outcome here. If this policy goes into effect, I don't think it will have that much of an impact on companies' profits. What I really think is going to happen here is that managers will finally be forced to start scheduling their employees' work, or not setting unrealistic expectations so that people will not be charging overtime. This means people will have more time to spend with their families or pursue hobbies. The real great thing about all of this is that it would be so easy to implement. This could be done with a one-page bill. There would be no cost to the government. We could simply start with the existing FLSA law and expand the definition of who is protected to include all Americans. No fluff, no extra pork, just one line that says all Americans get paid time and a half if you work more than 40 hours per week. I would love to put this law in front of every senator and representative in Washington, D.C., because it would show you if they're on the side of corporations or everyday Americans. Now, I have been on the website for both Trump and Biden. There is nothing on either of their websites that would have as big an impact on the quality of life of ordinary Americans than this policy change. And this is something that costs nothing. Both Trump and Biden are proposing large, expensive government programs that use your hard-earned taxpayer dollars. I am proposing something that is free. Why don't we try something free first before spending all of this money? That is the difference between a politician and an accountant. This is something that I've talked about for years, and I know it is radically different than the way we have done business in America in the past, but I don't think it's that far-fetched. I think we've just all gotten so used to business as usual that we need to take a step back and just look at our system and say, hey, it's unfair that people are working overtime for free. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think that this is something the presidential candidates should be talking about? Let me know by leaving a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Zach from Wolves in Finance. Let's go out and make some money.